Are you nervous? There's no way you should be nervous. I know everyone talks about the past, but this isn't the past. So to say, oh, well, they dropped, just going through the whole laundry list of their past is a loser's game. So you got to be a better fan is what you got to be. Because all I've seen is some pretty bad fans out there. As a matter of fact, I wrote down 6 types of fans. There's the diehard fan. Now, the diehard fan, anything can happen to the team whatsoever, and that fan is all in all the time. Doesn't mean he doesn't get upset, but the diehard fan will stay with the team, and he believes in the team 100% of the time. Now, I've heard the word fly around, delusional. It's not being delusional. It's being a good fan. It's being a good fucking fan. That's what it is. Other teams are jealous. That's why all you haters are calling Leaf fans delusional. It's because you're fucking jealous of the fandom. Let's be real. No matter how this team does, the fans keep coming back year after year after year. So why are you so bent out of shape? Why are you so upset about that? If you hate the team, you hate the team. Not a big deal. But move on already. There's nothing worse than a dedicated fan being called delusional because he believes in his team. I call that being a good fan. And that brings me to the next type of fan, faithful. So a faithful fan, he's there. I consider myself a faithful fan. I'm there every year. Yeah, I get a little disgruntled and there's some, I start, talking about certain moves that are made or whatnot. But for the most part, I'm just along for the ride and let's see where this team goes. Let's see what happens. If there was a script on how to build a team to succeed 100% of the time, all the time, don't you think all the teams would be following it? Just throwing it out there. There's a lot more to building a team than what you think. And then we have the casual fan. The casual fan, yeah, they'll watch the game. They'll watch the games if they have nothing else going on. They're just along for the ride. They don't say too much. They don't say, they really don't participate in all of this after game action in social media. They're just, they'll watch the game and they're happy for the Leafs, whatever they do. But a casual fan doesn't really follow it too closely. And then you have a fair weather fan. Fair weather fans, they're on cloud 9. They're way up here when they're winning, and they're way down here the minute they lose. And I've even seen it as extreme as in-game fair weather fans. So, the first period is going really badly, and the fair weather fan is just throwing them under the bus. It's just throwing darts at the team, and just massive, massive shade and criticism to the entire team. It's just the first period. I don't know what you're talking about. At least let the game finish. And then, by the second or third period, when the Leafs are doing okay, like in this comeback the last couple of games, these fair weather fans, they're pumping up the team big time. But then when we lose the last game, they're the first fans to dump on the team. That's a fair weather fan. Then you have a new fan, doesn't really know much about hockey per se. Maybe, and decided to go with the Leafs as a new fan because they're the most well-known franchise internationally. They have a lot of fans internationally. And when you go to the arenas, doesn't matter where the Leafs are playing, you have a ton of Leaf fans there because I can hear it on the broadcast when the Leafs score. And I can hear the chants, "Go Leafs, go." in other arenas. So that's the new fan. Then you have the trolls and the haters, and they're fans too, believe it or not. And the reason is because they follow the Leafs so closely just so they can look for something to scrutinize. And that's hilarious. That is absolutely hilarious. But they're the first ones to disappear when the Leafs are doing great. After the first game of these playoffs, it was something else. The haters came out from everywhere and just were on fire. And, all the cliches, 55 years, 1967, a collapse, all this stuff, but when they're doing well, that meme where Homer Simpson is just kind of sucked back into the bushes. Oh, nothing to see here. And that's that's those guys whenever things are going well. But you'll have some of the diehard trolls, and they'll be sticking around, and they'll be trying to troll future moves. I've never seen it ever before. They're going to try and troll the future. That's the absolute best, is when they're trying to troll the future. Like, come on, like, give it a rest. or they're gonna say they're gonna collapse, or they're gonna lose, they're not winning the cup. That's what they're, and then when they don't, because it's like there can only be one team win. So of course you're going to be 95% accurate. If no matter what you say to any team, you have a 95% chance of being right. So that's what really gets me. Is they make these wild predictions where they have a greater chance of coming true because of the odds of even winning in the playoffs or even winning the finals. That's why the Stanley Cup is the hardest trophy in sports to win. But that's what. So, of course, 95% of the time you're going to be right. Does that make you, special? Does that make you feel good knowing that you're right? And haha, you guys were wrong all along. I knew it the whole time. No, you didn't. You just called it because you had a 95% chance of being right. Because I have seen trolls come and go and disappear when they're completely wrong. Like, there's this one troll, Frank Bergeron. Now that the Bruins are losing, oh my God, he completely disappeared off the face of the earth. He closed his social media accounts. So now he's probably feverishly in the background creating another troll account on Facebook. But man, has he been quiet. Oh my goodness. It's just the best. It's so funny when that happens. So let's start over and see what the Leafs can do this time around. It's not over. It's anything but over. If it was over, it'd be Game 7. The final buzzer would ring, and that's that until next year. Ask Winnipeg how they're doing, right? So we have to get out of this mentality as a fan that the world is coming to an end because the Leafs lose Game 5. You got to be kidding me. So let's go through it. Game 1, they were a bit tentative, lots of pressure. It's a blowout. Leafs lose like 7-3. But who showed up for Game 2? Yeah, Game 2 was a blowout for the Leafs. And they just completely turned that script. And then, of course, there's some Fairweather fans that are getting far too emotional, and they're going too far the other way, saying, man, we're winning the cup. It's like, whoa, it's one game. They still got 3 more wins to do it, and that's just for the first series. So relax. You guys got to relax. You can't expect to win every game. And when they lose, you can't expect all these wild changes to happen. And, you know, and you're screaming at what? You got to be realistic here. So then game 3, the Leafs are losing, and I can see the Fairweather fans in the comments, and they're just, you know, all over this. They're like, well, I'm done. This is garbage. These guys are losing. And then they come back and manage to win that game, and the Fairweather fans are, boom, they're on top. They're on top of the world. And then game 4 happens. In game 4, I'll admit, you know, I was, when it was getting late and the Leafs were losing and they were down by 3, in the last 10 minutes of the third period, I thought it was over. I'm not a Fairweather fan, but I'm a realistic fan, and I just didn't want to hang around for any more of that because they just weren't trying. So I didn't want to hang around for any more of that. I've seen that before. I've been a fan of the Leafs for, you know, I'm going on, you know, 50 years. I can't say I've been a fan for 50 years because, you know, I've only been born for 53 years. So were you a fan right from birth? Come on. So I'd have to say I'm a fan, you know, at about when I was 5. So 48 years of being a Leafs fan. And I just didn't want to see it. So I threatened to turn the channel. I didn't. I watched the game, but you know, you could feel it building up inside when Matthews scored to close the gap, and then he scored again and closed the gap. And by the time they tied it up, oh yeah, you knew that they were winning that game. Just by the way they took over completely in the last 10 minutes. And I think, you know, that's what they got to do. So instead of shitting on the team, relax. Enjoy the game. Get your emotions out of it and just relax and watch the game. That's what you do. That's what you need to do as a fan. Support the team. Support. You know, it doesn't mean you can't disagree with things here or there, but to say they're finished after they lose game 5, come on. They just won. Okay, so here, putting it into a bit of perspective here. So the Leafs lose game 1 atrociously. They got played out of their own arena. But then games 2, 3, and 4, they managed to win. Games 2 was convincingly, and games 3 and 4 was comebacks. So other than game 2, you haven't seen the best of the Leafs in this playoff series. I'm predicting tonight you're going to see that. But before we get to that, I don't want to get ahead of myself. So they beat Tampa 3 games in a row. They beat Vasilevsky, the best goaltender in the NHL right now. They beat him 3 times. That's the first time. That's the first time that has happened since 2019. Usually he only loses after he loses one. He comes back and plays a really strong game the very next game. But the Leafs beat him, and then they beat him again. So that's got to be noted there. You know, you have to understand that beating a team like Tampa 3 games in a row is, you know, and 2 of those games are coming from behind. You have to give the Leafs credit for that. But then when they lose game 5, it's not over. Everyone, you know, throwing up their arms going, they can't even, you know, close out a series. It's going to, you know, they can't, they blow it again. That's the biggest thing I've heard is, oh, they blew it again. They didn't blow it again. Come on. Are you expecting, when this series started, were you expecting the Leafs to win 4 in a row against Tampa? I certainly wasn't. And if you watch my video, with my bracket video, you'll see that I have the Leafs in 6. And that's exactly what we're headed to, is a 6th game tonight. And I'm more relaxed now than I've ever been through this entire series, because I know that they're winning tonight, plain and simple. I already know they're winning. And then some people ask, well, how do you know? How can you be so confident? Because I have it on my bracket, is what I keep telling them. It's on my bracket. But in all seriousness, we have yet to see the best team the Leafs can be. We've seen glimpses of it, but we haven't seen an entire 60 minutes. And I think that's what we're going to see tonight. An entire 60 minutes of the Leafs coming out and just shutting down Tampa. And I'll go a step further. The score tonight is going to be 5-3 Leafs. And the goal scorers, I think, are going to be Matthews, Tavares, Giordano. And I'm saying Giordano because he had an awful game last game. So I think he's going to come out, and I think he's going to be a contributor this game, just because he's got a lot of experience in the league, and he knows that's what he needs to do, he needs to contribute and make up for that bad game that he had last game. But I mean, Hall didn't help him either, right? They were partners. Hall didn't really help him. Hall was trying to do too much out there the last game, stepping up for a big hit when they didn't need a big hit. He just had to stay in front of his man coming back, and he misses a good portion of that hit, and Tampa gets around him and scores. That's what turned the game right there. But let's get back on track. So I think Matthews, Tavares, Giordano, those 3 players, I think they're going to score. And I think Tavares is going to score twice. So, and then to get the 5th goal, not sure. It could be O'Reilly when he's battling in front of the net. Who knows? User's choice, let's say. I don't know. But I have a feeling Matthews and Tavares and Giordano are going to be big time tonight. They're going to be major factors tonight, and they're going to score. So, again, 5-3 Leafs. Game 6. That is what I'm seeing, and I have a different kind of feeling. Usually, I'm very tense and emotional for these types of games, and really nervous. I'm as nervous as though when I played hockey as a kid, going out there for a tournament, and you get the butterflies going, and you're nervous, and your ribs are sore because you're so nervous. But I don't feel that. I don't feel that right now at all. I don't feel it like the last game. The entire day I was nervous. And that's, natural as a fan. If you're, a fan that's been around this team a long time, and you're a faithful fan, and, you just want good things to happen, you're going to be a little nervous. But, this time, I'm not nervous at all. And that's how I know things are going to happen for the better for the Leafs. And they're going to win. So keep the faith. Let's show some support. And we'll talk about the game after it's over tonight. And I'll be coming back in the video. And the first thing I'm going to say is, told you so. I told you they're going to win. And this will be the best Leafs game that we see. Mark my words. I want to thank you for watching this video and sticking around for the last 19 minutes to watch it. But I appreciate you. And come back tonight after the game. And shortly thereafter, I'm going to have another video. And let's talk about Game 6 and the victory the Leafs are going to have over the Tampa Bay Lightning. Thank you very much. I will catch you later. Have a good day.